Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Kenyan Revolutionary. I'll be here briefly, very brief, just to talk about what's going on in Kenya. Sorry, I've been away for a while. I'll still be kind of um, away for a minute before I really normal programming resumes. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, if this is your first time here, I talk about Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of content, this is a place for you. So go ahead and subscribe, share, comment, and like the video. And if you've already subscribed, you know the first order of business. You need to hit that like button. And also make sure that that notification button is on. So every time I come in, you'll always find me here. So, hey, let's talk about it today. I'm just going to talk about the general, news surrounding politics in Kenya. Okay, so latest on Kenyan politics. What's happening in Kenya? Nothing really much. Like I said, the last news that's worth speaking about, is the announcement by Miguna, who said that he's going to enter the race for the 2027 presidential elections. Okay, he'll be a candidate, which spices things up. But I'll talk about that briefly as I connect it with the whole summation of what's going on in Kenya. Now, the biggest news as far as the politics is concerned is still this whole ODM wrangles within the party between, Babu Owino, Sifuna, Winnie Odinga versus the, Oburu Odinga, Gladys Wanga, Junet, Opio and the others, okay? So basically the pro-government, broad-based government, pro-Ruto faction of the ODM versus the, these guys who are, trying to align themselves with the people, so to speak. I mentioned something. Let me just say something about this ODM thing. That's why I'm not even excited about talking about it, because it's a bunch of nothing. Some people are really invested in it because, they really think there's a real difference between these two factions. But in reality, there's none, okay? I told you from the get-go that either way, both factions of this ODM are still aligned with the political class. Okay? Because listen, let me just make it very clear to you. If Sifuna was to be ousted from ODM, where do you think Sifuna will go? Okay? He will probably align himself with Kalonzo Musyoka and Gachagua and the rest, which still makes up part of the what? Political class. Okay? If he remains and stays in ODM, which is maybe it's possible, I don't know, I doubt it. If he remains with the ODM, what role shall he play within the ODM, knowing very well that the Oburu Odingas, if they get their way, they will be aligned with Ruto. They will support Ruto's candidature for re-election in 2027. So what role will Sifuna play? Will he just be a noisemaker in the party, criticizing everything that his party leadership is doing and what President Ruto is doing? Okay, just for the sake of it, just for brownie points, which he has been doing so for a long time. I mean, remember, Sifuna is the very guy who told us that the day that the ODM party decides to endorse Ruto is the day that he will resign as the ODM Secretary General. So here it is. I don't know. I think they had something going on this weekend. I don't know. I don't even read about ODM anymore because it's silly. But regardless, there's news that they're going to have their national delegate committee where they shall vote on the party leader, who's going to be the party leader, and who's going to be what. Then they shall chatter their way forward if they're going to align themselves with Ruto or not. Regardless, like I said, these are two sides of the same coin. Again, looking at Babu Owino, who people might say that, he's the is also rebelling against the Oburu Odinga faction. Okay, if you look at Babu Owino, he wants to run for Nairobi gubernatorial seat or Kisumu or whichever way. He still needs the ODM supporters. I mean, he can afford to, kind of distance himself from Oburu, but still, like I say, Babu Owino has a lot of dirt in his name. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet, so it is easy to control him. But what he's going to do, or how he's going to present himself, he's going to present himself as someone who is anti the establishment, anti the political class. But he is actually remotely being controlled by the very political class that he claims to be opposing. Because there's no way you can run for Nairobi gubernatorial seat without the blessings of the cartels, who are basically an extension, an appendage of the corrupt elite political class of Kenya. There's no way. There's just no way, okay? So that's why I do not invest a lot of time, much time in following what's happening on ODM. It's fun as news, but in reality, it's not. Now, let's park that bus there. I'll come back to it and touch on it a little bit. The biggest news so far is about gossip. News that has nothing to do with politics necessarily. It's about this gentleman. Well, let me not call him a gentleman, but he's a person. I think his name is Mr. Opande. He was in a bar somewhere drinking, and he met this girl who they say allegedly she was inebriated or drunk, or whatever the case is, or buzzed, whatever term you want to use. And I guess she exposed this girl. This girl exposed herself. I'm not quite sure what really the story is about. I watched a little clip of it, and I actually didn't see anything. Maybe I watched a wrong video, but basically this guy was fondling this lady, and the lady seems to be consenting to whatever this guy was doing. Actually, this girl she wanted it more. Like, she was basically urging the guy on, talking about, let me touch you and, put you in the mood, or whatever the case is. And I don't know. Apparently there's a video out there that this girl was exposed, being butt naked. I haven't watched the video. I don't know if it exists. I don't know. For the video clip that I watched, I didn't see much. They were in a bar somewhere drinking, and this girl he was urging the guy, hey, finish your drink so we can go, do the do. I didn't see anything, Maybe there's another video which apparently people are talking about, where this girl was being exposed as being naked and this guy was doing whatever he was doing. I don't know. But all in all, so the whole brouhaha about this case is, apparently this guy is based in the US. So he was back in Kenya visiting. And on his way back to the US, he was stopped, detained, so that this case, because of the incident, okay? This girl, I don't know if she went to the authorities and reported this guy, that this guy took advantage of him, or whatever the case is. So this guy is a Mosiri, whatever his name is, stepped in and is running around with this girl. This girl is making videos, playing the victim. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I was exposed, just destroyed my reputation, blah, blah. Personally, I actually don't feel sorry for this girl, to be honest with you, because I feel like if you look at the video, she was playing along. Okay, she was playing along. Now, is it wrong that Mr. Opande, apparently that's his name, put the video out there of this guy? If there's a more explicit video of this guy, the Mr. Opande doing whatever he's doing to her, and he posted it online, then that's a problem. That's a real problem, okay? But if it's just based on what I saw, I think the lady should also take responsibility for her action. She's not a kid. I don't think she was below 18 or below 21. She looks like a grown lady, and the way and the manner in which she was talking to this gentleman, she was pushing for it more. Now, like I said, what will change my mind is if this gentleman, Mr. Pande, if he, secretly videoed or filmed the whole process of them doing whatever they were doing and exposing this young lady without her consent, then yes, there's reasons to be outraged about that. But from the little I saw, the lady was quite aware that, she was being filmed. The guy was recording using his phone probably. And there's a point where she was saying, "Are you recording?" Whatever, to me, I feel like she was so eager to get on with whatever they were planning on doing. She was calling him babe or whatever, and if she was uncomfortable knowing or suspecting that Mr. Opande was filming him, the prudent thing to do would be, "Hey, Mr. Opande." And since she claimed that she didn't know him that well, she would have stopped the whole thing. She would have been like, "Hey, listen, if you want to get on with whatever we're about to do, you need to put your phone down. We're not doing this, okay?" She could have been vocal about this. Karibu sana, Goody, I see you. So that's what I feel. But my initial reaction to the video that I saw is that this girl was more eager to get on with whatever they were doing, and the gentleman was filming it, was putting her there. She could see that the thing is being recorded. Now, am I saying it's right to record somebody without their consent? No. Is it right to put it out there in public, something that should have not been in public? No. What I'm saying is this: as the young lady should also take responsibility for action. You can't throw yourself to somebody just because he comes from the US or well, what? All right, I'm getting new information here. Let me see what Gypsy's saying here. He's saying the lady surfaced on another video, one of Ruto's paid. Okay. So she's, yeah, people take videos and not post them. She wasn't sober though. Right. That's what I'm saying. So what am I saying? Okay. Ruto, I read Francis Gaito saying that this is a whole psyop that is meant to distract people from the actual issues. Remember, the Auditor General came out and announced that, I don't know, 30-something billion has been lost, and people started asking questions. And now this story is kind of making news, like everyone is paying attention to this news for some reason. Something that happens almost every day across Kenya, where young men and women, they film themselves drunk, doing all sorts of things. Okay. Now again, Enlightened Noble Gladwell is saying people take videos and not post them. She wasn't sober though. Yes, she wasn't sober, and that's why I'm saying I agree with you. I think the young lady should take responsibility for her actions too. I'm not saying that what Mr. Opande did was right. It's actually definitely wrong, especially if you're going to film somebody, naked or doing something that should be in the private without their consent, okay, and putting it in public. Yes, he should be held to account. But the same thing, and this is a message to young ladies too, and ladies in general, do not put yourself. I'm saying this because from the clip, I don't know if there's an explicit version of the events that was posted there that is in rolling around, because I haven't seen it yet. But the short clip that I saw, this lady was basically throwing herself on this man, and there's a point where she was like, "Hey, are you recording?" Which shows that she was well aware that this man was recording using his phone. So what I'm saying is this: sober or not, okay? Yes, she might not be sober, but she was sober enough to know that this guy was probably recording. Number one, why are you putting yourself in that situation? Number two, if you're suspecting this guy was recording you, you should have stopped the whole thing. Be like, hey, Mr. Opande, we can continue with whatever we are about to do, but if you're going to pull your phone out and record me, everything stops. I'm going home. We're not doing this, okay? But from the initial clip that I saw, sober or not, this girl was throwing herself on him, and it was actually kind of leading him. It's like, finish up drinking so we can get down to the business, okay? Let me help you get in the mood, whatever the case is. You know, you might say she wasn't sober, but she was definitely aware of her surroundings, because there's different levels of sobriety, okay? You might be drunk, but you know what's going on. You know, okay, this guy is filming me, he's videoing, taping me. This guy is doing this. I'm aware of who's messing around. Now, if she was drunk to a point where she couldn't tell who this guy was, her surroundings, she don't know what's going on, she's confused, then I would be, more sympathetic, okay? But this is a lady who was actually encouraging this, like, hey, let's go, let's get to the business, finish up your drink. Oh, I'll just steady. Let me help you up so you can get there. You see what I'm saying? So I do not necessarily feel sorry for her. I think this is a play. Right. But let me read some more here. Maybe there's new. There's new. Okay. Okay. So Gypsy saying, some lady has earned the YouTuber a sacking because of her acting. Sakaja sacked the guy. Sacked who? A YouTuber? Everyone needs idea kidogo. I'm kind of lost. Maybe I'm behind news here. Somebody help me. She was with the wrong man, malicious and immature, a man who was born in a maternity ward. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether pro Ruto or not, she has her rights. Please compare the drunken lady on the video and the updated sobbing lady. They are two different people. One is chubby and the other, compare yourself. So ni wawili, it's two different people. I don't know. So who was fired? Who Nani hebu nisaidie, which let me just address this real quick by Enlightened Noble Gladwell, saying it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter whether pro Ruto or not, she has her rights. Yes, she does have her rights. Again, I'll come back to this. You cannot put yourself, listen, I'm not saying that what this gentleman did, videotaping this lady, is right. That is wrong. We can establish that. Okay, especially if it wasn't without consent. To me, I can argue that there was implied consent for this very reason. That's why I'm saying if there's another version of the video where more explicit, action, whatever the case is, was being revealed, then I can say, all right, this is wrong. But from the initial video that I've seen on X, where this lady is actually coming on too strong on this guy, it was like, hey, twende, maliza pombe, twende tukafanye hiyo, babe, she's calling her babe, whatever. And again, the young lady acknowledges that this man has a phone and is recording. Because actually she's like, when I record. And at no point in the video this young lady said, hey, stop recording. You understand? So at that point, if I'm a lawyer, I would argue that there was implied consent. Now, you might say sobriety. She wasn't sober. That's also debatable. From what I'm seeing, from what I saw, from what was clear, you can't determine sobriety by looking at that video. You know, this lady was like, first of all, it was her who initiated the whole. I mean, she was talking sexual stuff. She wanted him to hurry up, finish up the drink. She wanted him to get ready so they can do the do. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm saying there's also level of sobriety. Or sorry, level of, being inebriated. You can be drunk to a point where you can't recognize who's in front of you. You're not aware of surrounding. You don't know what's been done to you. You are not all the way there. Okay? But if you're drunk, you're buzzed, and you are well aware of your surrounding, you are initiating the sexual interaction, you are rushing the guy so you can get whatever to start doing whatever you're planning on doing. And this is the most important part, acknowledging that this gentleman had a phone with him and he was recording. And at no point did you say, hey, stop with the recording. We can go on with this, but you need to stop recording. So if you acknowledge that the guy had his phone and was recording, and you did not tell him to stop, considering the fact that you were aware of your surrounding, that could be interpreted as implied consent. Now, if this lady was laying down in the bed and dressed, she's super drunk, and this guy is, on top of him or whatever the case is, then that's a problem. That's a big problem. The guy should be under the jail right now. So based on what I've seen, I'm going to say that, hey, listen, both parties need to take account, to be accountable for their action. Okay? This man should have known better than recording such a thing. And the lady also, you can't just throw yourself on somebody because you're buzzed or whatever the case is, then the next day say, this guy was taking advantage of me, just because you're ashamed. You're ashamed of him posting your action while you are all the way in Inyo. So, you have to be, don't put yourself in a situation where, that's what I'm saying. All right. So Enlightened is saying, Gypsy, remember, she claims Opande drugged her, so she became more not herself. Okay. Check the updated clip on Kenya Digital. Tell me about it. Dayangalia Badai. Maybe I might make a video on that too. So what's the updated clip? I mean, I saw her. The last clip I saw was Mosiria was standing with her somewhere, and she was all sobbing. She was like, oh, blah, 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 this guy took advantage of me, blah, 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 blah. And on the comment section, no one was feeling sorry for her. And again, like I say, I don't know what clip people are talking about. Ni clip gani, what are people? What clip are we talking about? If you're talking about the clip where wako kwa bar and the guy is fondling her, and obviously she wasn't rejecting him. If anything, she was actually encouraging it. Then if we are basing that on that clip, I'm not feeling sorry for you. Sorry. Yep. Mosiri has been sacked by Sakaja. I have no Mosiri. I'm not sure what Mosiria's a job is, job definition. Mi niko namwona tu hapo anaenda sijui sound pollution, anaenda kwa clubs anaambia wafunge club or whatever. I don't know what that guy did for a living. I literally don't know. So I didn't even know he works in Nairobi County. But yeah. So ndio maana nasema a lot of people are not feeling sorry for this young lady because the way she was behaving. And for those of you who are saying that alikuwa mewaka, again, hata sisi tulikuwa in our previous years tulikuwa tunakunywanga pombe. That's why we can say there's levels of kuwaka. Kuna ile unaweza kukunywa mpaka aujui jina yako, ujui mbele wala nyuma. Lakini udem nikalko, she still had sense. She had enough sense to know that this guy was recording. She had enough sense to tell the guy, ebu maliza hiyo drink tuende tukafanye mambo. She had enough sense to sema, ebu nikupatie mkono kidogo, nikusaidie ukuwa ready, ndio tufanye ile maneno. And when the guy was fondling her, she was with it. She was not rejecting the guy. So if that is filmed, you know, the guy can listen. This is a case that say if you're based on that clip alone, ujamaa anaweza kwenda kotini aseme, hey, listen, I was filming this because for this very reason, I don't want her to wake up the next morning. It was to protect myself. So udem asikuja amke anza kusema ati sijui nimemfanya nini. And again, if this lady was sober enough to know that she was being filmed and she did not ask him to stop, then that means there was implied consent. Anyway, but all in all, this guy is in hot water. Musiria has been sad. Musiria is, I don't know. But all in all, the guy has been sacked. Alikuwa anataka kuhepa arudi majuu kuendelea na kazi yake, but Jeff Musiria has been outshining dimples, hence how does one outshine the boss? I guess, I don't know. A lot of people are saying Musiria alikuwa anatafuta brownie points hapo, you know, taking advantage of the situation and all that. But either way, this case is something that should be, I don't see why it's, I don't know why it's a big story. I don't. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Like ndio nasema, kama kuna video, another version where it's more explicit stuff, and yeah, I can argue otherwise. But this one, I don't know. Enlightened. Why will Kenyan women who throw themselves to lay it on the table, can they not remember the proof? Oh, sorry, the poor girl who was dumped in an acid tank after being sexually assaulted. Oof. Yeah. Exactly. You have to be careful, and that's what I'm saying. You know, you have to be smart. You know, you have to be careful. Wezi kuji, you know, don't throw yourself into. Nasikia wa Nigeria. Nothing against Nigerians, but I'm saying, nasikia wa Nigeria, wanakuja Kenya, wanachukua hao wasichana ambao wanajitangaza hivyo. Unaenda unaamka na all your organs are missing. Oga amechukua your heart, elbow, knee, macho na masikio hata imeenda. Hata makwapa pia amekata na ameenda nayo. So you have to be careful, you know. Alafu, you just have to be careful. Let me just say that without saying much. None. And Gypsy is right there. Baka, madam baka ukwa careful. That's why you see, you know, most of madam wakienda out in different places in the world, they go out in a group. Okay? The way mnaenda group, ukipata chali ambao, you know, you feel is good looking or whatever you want to do, you take his number, call him tomorrow. afuatilie. Okay, I mean that's the most safer way than unaenda out peke yako umelewa alafu unaanza kufanya mambo yako. And this girl, like I say, to me, even though watu nasema ati alikuwa amewaka, yes, probably drunk, but she knew what she was doing. That's why I'm saying angekuwa amelewa to a point where hajijui, she's not aware of her surrounding, then that would be a different case. That does not take away from the fact that Ujama shouldn't have been video recording that on his phone. Of course, that should be extra vigilant. Yes. Egyptian Asema, I know people who travel to Kenya for cheap wives. They say that most of them, you mentioned KFC, they will take you. Yani KFC imetosha. I mean, I don't mean to laugh, but ai jamani, KFC imetosha. Unamesha tu KFC na hiyo eh? Tool. Hiyo tu. Ai we, wacheni mchezo, wacheni jokes. Ati KFC tu peke yake. That is true. Women are vulnerable all the time. Mpaka ukwe macho. Yes, wasichana, you have to be very careful. Wasichana, if it's possible, usikunywe, usivute bangi, anything that will alter your mind state, do not. And that does not mean that you are totally safe, but it will take the chances, lower the chances of you being taken advantage of. Okay? Because kama we ni dem, na we ni msupu, you know, you're a target. Kuna watu wakuna akili, they have bad mind, you know? Wanakupangia. So you have to be vigilant. Always beware of your surrounding, beware of what you do, beware of who you hang out with. Yoyote. Yeah? So this particular case, you know, it's a case of somebody, I think it's more of a case of somebody who's regretting her actions rather than her being taken advantage of. That's my initial reaction. Now, if we have more information, like I say, if there's more information regarding this case, then maybe we can, you know, but it kind of distracts people. To me, it's not a story that should be, you know, there's kuna shida kubwa Kenya. We have bigger problems in Kenya. We're not, that should be the main thing people are talking about. I mean, Auditor General ametuambia kuna bilioni zingine. I mean, a few months ago, Auditor General ametuambia 20 billion, 30 billion imepotea, and it cannot be accounted for. Nobody knows where it went. Auditor General last week ametuambia another 20 billion imepotea. Nobody knows where it is. There's bigger problems than sijui mlienda mkawaka huko na mka videotape hapo, sijui sasa unakuja kutulilia hapa na kuna watu ambao hata chakula hawana. There's bigger problems, bana. That's what we are saying. Good advice. It's good to go out as a group as well. Yes, especially as women. Kama mnakunywa, have a DD, designated driver. And make sure everyone makes it back home. Kwa hiyo gari vile mlienda, DD yako hapo. Hata kama mchukua Uber, mkokaa watu 5, 3, whatever the case is. Mnarudi vile mlienda. Ukipata kijana ambao unaona ni mwambia kupatia namba yake, utampigia simu kesho. You know? But, you know, people sometimes, unfortunately, you know, some people will learn the hard way. Utajipata malpabaya, especially, especially ukikunywa. So, so I kind of agree with the guy. This is a distraction. I don't know why the algorithm picked up on this story as the main story, because I don't know why. I mean, I'm not saying it's not important, because there's a lot of lessons that can be learned from this situation, but it shouldn't be the main story dominating our news cycle. Okay, I mean, they say that she has got a 4-year child. Sad for the kid. Oh my goodness, nakona mkutoi. Oh Lord, that's even worse. Poor thing. Yeah. On another news I saw, woo, lakini Kenya. Murkomen and Hassan Joho were in Mombasa somewhere, and they declared that watu wa kuuza madawa ya kulevya wakome. Hey. I just had to go to the comment section of that. I'll repeat again. Murkomen and Hassan Joho, they had a joint press conference, or in a public somewhere, and they announced that they will make sure that drug dealers are no more come to the country. Haya, sawa. I can't say more than that. Pigeni hesabu hapo. I'm sure. I'm not kidding you. Murkomen ndio CS wa security, internal security studio nini? That's true. Security starts with oneself. Yeah. Yeah. Murkomen na Hassan Joho wamedeclare drug dealing has to stop in Kenya. You make it what you will, okay? But one thing is interesting. Like I say, 2027 elections. By the way, mtu aniambie scores, Morocco versus Senegal. Wameenda penalties, or did somebody score? It's AFCON finals. One thing I want to say about 2027 elections, presidential elections, now that Miguna is going to, as Nenio jumped into the race. First of all, I think a lot of people feel that there's a good chance of taking out Ruto because Ruto is very unpopular, okay? So they feel like there's a good chance of taking out Ruto. I've always maintained this. The question is not whether Ruto will. Oh, Senegal won, yes. Our Arabu wameshinda sana. At least hey, I'm so happy. Senegal. Congratulations, Senegal. I'm so happy for you guys. Mane, Sane. Is it Mane? Sadio Mane, the one who was playing for Liverpool. Jackson, the goalkeeper who was from Chelsea before. Who else? There's so many of them. Idrissa from, I think, Everton. Ndiaye from Everton. Who else? So many good players. I'm so happy for Senegal. Personally, I wanted Senegal to any team, Senegal coming from the dark continent, Africa. Senegal, I wanted Senegal to win than Nigeria. Nothing against Nigeria. I just think Nigeria, the Nigerians are proud, okay? They're naturally proud. If they would have won this AFCON, I'm telling you, so I'm so happy for Senegal, and I didn't want another Arab nation to win this AFCON. Kind of beats the whole purpose, kind of, I mean, those Arabs, they don't even consider themselves Africans. Did you hear about the Algerians? The way they were screaming at when once they were beaten, once they were kicked out, they started saying that they shall enslave the Africans once more and enslave their women. Their fans were singing this once they lost. So, Warabu always, they kind of look down on Black Africans. So kudos to Senegal. I'm so happy for Senegal. They just need to, do something about their country. But I'm so happy for Sadio Mane, who actually said that this might be his last African AFCON competition, because I think he's like 33 or 34, 32, 33. So by next one, he'll be, unless he pulls a Rojamila. But congratulations, Senegal. I'm so happy for that. But yeah, to my last point before I get out of here, I wasn't planning to stay here long. I know you guys have a lot of things to do. the question for 2027 is not if Ruto is going to lose or win, because the truth is Ruto is going to rig himself back to power. The question is, will the Kenyan people accept it as they've always accepted the theft of previous general elections? Okay? Again, there's one great variable that will be missing this time. The great negotiator. He'll not be in the mix. He's always the guy who comes in to save the day with his handshakes. He's no longer there this time. So, if when Ruto is announced by the ICC, sorry, not the by the ICC, by the IBC, that he's the presidential candidate that have won the elections, when people decide to go to the streets and say, we are not accepting these elections, who will come out and convince the government that we should have peace? Who will come out? Who has the enough influence to calm people down, to convince the country that a handshake would be better than people going out to the streets? Because Raila is gone. Okay? Did you watch Winnie Sifuna and the co at Kamkunji? It was great. No, I haven't watched Ninio. I just saw the headlines about. I'm actually about to go. After this, I'll go watch Winnie Sifuna and go, what did they say? I just saw Ninio saying Winnie alikuwa anasema ati sijui ODM is the party of the people or something like that. One thing I know is that after the elections, after Ruto is declared the winner of 2027 presidential election, I don't even think this time wataenda Supreme Court. I don't think what wataenda kwa Supreme Court, because they already know what will happen in Supreme Court. I mean, so that is what I want to see. Wakisham declare president ameshinda tena, will the Kenyan people accept it without somebody who is influential enough to choreograph some kind of protest and bring these leaders together in a room and convince them that a handshake will be good for the nation? Because that person is gone. So this time, who will stop it? That's the question. They're not leaving or joining Ruto. So nani ananiambia hapa, they're not leaving or joining Ruto. Talk about the fake ODM. I'm telling you, ODM is usarakasi tu, usarakasi. All these people usarakasi. Wataenda wachesta, I haven't even watched the video, but I can guess what they said. I know Sifuna alisimama hapo, mimi nilisema siwezi kusupport Ruto kwa sababu raisi watu wamesema kwamba all those recommendation ambayo tulisikizana haujafuatilia. So sasa mimi, I already know. ODM, including Buruwaga and the crooks. Oburu is 747 years old. Why is he still worried about being? See, this is the problem. Kaguta is also doing his thing in Uganda, by the way. Uganda. Africa, Jamani. When are we going to? Who bewitched us? Who has bewitched you? Kaguta. And there's another one who's older than Kaguta. I forgot his name. He's like 90, I don't know what. Now he's running as an MP. Na yeye ndio sijui senator, chairman, committee, head of committee, or as you name. Surely, Oburu should just step. In fact, Oburu should get out of politics and worry about the family legacy. Ajenge ka library ya Raila Odinga huko, atumikie yule bibi ya Jaramogi, yule alikuwa anasema vitu mbaya mbaya hapo about Oloa Ringo and others. Yeah? About Ada. Take care of that lady, take care of your boma, and just stay out of it. Wachana wakina Winnie hapo ndio wangangane. You know. But Oburu is 797 na bado. In fact, Oburu wants to be the candidate in 2032. Oburu Odinga. Candidate presidential mwenyewe. Hawachi. Mimi, I was with Raila when the meeting was sitting with Ruto. Jamani, at some point you need to leave it. Wachana na hiyo siasa. Ai, si lazima. Just because your name is Odinga. Tafadhali, wacha siasa. Oburu, you are 797 years old. Kaa chini. Makwapa imefanya cobwebs, bado unataka kuwa sijui nini. Nyie mtosheki bwana. Hiyo mambo yenu. Oburu Odinga can't get his words out. Did you see him in Kakamega? I haven't seen him. You know, squeeze it and the old is gold. Ay, hata kama old ni gold, jamani. Chali. No. Jama, how old is Oburu? Because apparently he was older than Raila. Oburu is 797 years old. He grew up with Moses from the Bible. Na bado amekalia kiti. Tena yeye ndio ODM chairperson. Na yeye ndiye anataka kuwa kwa ninio. Hiyo inaitwaje? What's that? Hiyo government yao hiyo mpya inaitwaje? Hiyo government yake na Ruto inaitwaje? Broad base. No. That is not the way Kenya should be. I mean, I'm not saying that we should put young people in power just for the sake of being young, just like Kaswell anatuambianga hapa kila siku ati, we need more young people, youth. Being young is not a qualification, but there's an age where if you reach kama ya Oburu, unafaa wache. At that age, worry about your grandkids, your kids, your kids. Worry about your legacy. Worry about it. Sahi unafaa unaongea na Yesu kwa sababu you are preparing to transition into the next world. Kwa sababu you are on borrowed time, uko overtime, extra time. Unaona? Uko extra time. Anza kuongea na Mungu. Ukimwambia tafadhali nijengee hapo ka bedroom 2 bedroom hapo nikifika mambo iko sawa. Si bado atunangangana usijui unataka kuwa general secretary, sijui unataka kuwa sijui party leader, usijui broad. You saw Raila was having a lot of sickness in his system. Huyo mzee alikuwa na stress sana kwa sababu ya tamaa. Raila was supposed to be quiet. Awachane na siasa. Go enda hiyo pesa yao umekonkon wa Kenya. Enda huko inaitwaje? Belarus or something. Go in a yacht somewhere. Tafuta kadem hata kadem kingine ako 30 something hapo, amevaa bakini, anakupikia nyama na nini na samaki, omena, una relax kwa yacht kidogo. Massage. Raila would have been, he could have lived long, up to 127. Even 300 years. Lakini Raila with his health, bado, he wants to be in the center of everything. Ako kwa broad base, Naduko ndio hiyo pia ameingia, sijui Gen Z pia, yeye pia ni Gen Z, sijui party leader, mara AU, mara tialala, tibim. You cannot be healthy at your age kama unaingilia mambo mingi. Wachana nayo bwana. Same thing with Uburu. Uburu, you are 797. Bado umejiingiza kwa broad base. Mara sijui unapigana na watu Babu Owino, Wini, sijui nini. Unataka kurun in 2032. Jamani, enough is enough. Saa ingine you have to listen to your body. You have to listen to your body. Hey, to. Yeah. Uburu supposed, Uburu have some sons. Why don't we push them? You know? And to me, okay, one thing I would say about Raila Odinga he did not let his father to just hand over your street credibility. No, he earned it. No, that's the only thing I will give him. Si kama Uhuru Kenyatta na na Gideon and Uhuru, they're just big names because they were fathers of their father. Hakuna kitu walipiga. They didn't make their own name. No. That's why I'm not so excited about these corrupt leaders running for president. Like Winnie. I mean, Winnie Odinga, what is she known for? Sinalienda maandamano moja 2017. Ile Range Rover vile ilipigwa tear gas, hatujawahi muona tena kwa maandamano. Sasa nasema my dad. Okay, your dad sawa, but what have you done? Ulienda Iala. Mnakaa hapo na mtoto wa Kalonzo hapo Iala. What were you doing, Winnie? What have you done for Kenyans? This is what I'm asking. What have you done for Kenyans? In your resume, the only strong point is that you are the daughter of Raila Odinga. What else? What are you offering Kenyans? You are not the same. No. Same thing with Oburu. Oburu, you are 797. What have you done for Kenyans? Besides just being the brother of Raila. What have you done for Kenyans? Mulikuwa mnapigania ya CIA interest account na Orengo. You are threatening Orengo. At Orengo, sijui me, I wanted sijui Opio and I to be governor of CIA. You see what I'm saying? Lakini Oburu, I'm trying to help you for the sake of your health, given your age. Tafadhali, wachana na siasa. Wachana nayo, tafadhali. Wachana. Resign. Toka ODM, toka Senate, toka yoyote. Enda nyumbani. I'm sure you are a billionaire. Yeah? Enda nyumbani. In fact, I'm telling you, sijui kwa nini hawa wazee wako na shida mingi. You know, the only corrupt leader who ambaye anaangalia tumbo yake vizuri ni Atuoli. That's why his stomach is protruded the way it is protruded. Atuoli akona mtoto, young woman. Hata kijikojolea, he knows how to take care of himself. Umeona sura ya Atuoli of late? Atuoli akona skin ya a 16-year-old lady, young girl. Amepambariza. Na tumbo inazidi kumea. You only see him when he goes to Austria, the money has looted from Kenyan workers. Akienda kuweka kwa hiyo account huko. Anapata massage. Huko Austria, anarudi hapa. Ana con pesa zingine hapo. Atuoli knows how to eat. I'm not advocating for eating Kenyans' money, but I'm just saying. Anachenga vizuri. Unaona? That's the secret. Usijiweke kwa siasa sana. You want too many responsibility. You will die. Atuoli, ukiona Atuoli wasichana watu. Look at nani. Who former governor wa Kakamega. Anaitwa nani. Huyu jamaa kwa broad base pia. What's his name? Can somebody tell me? What's his name? This guy. Former governor of Kakamega. amepata msichana mdogo, and there are several, si moja, several. Ndio mwana umonangi hapo akipiga makelele na kina Joho yako huko nyuma, kwa sababu ako na mademu young wanampatia massage. Oparanya siku hizi ukiona Oparanya, hey, Oparanya utafikiri ni teenager. Oparanya na hiyo kipara yake, Oparanya unajua anafanana na Frankenstein. Siku hizi ukiona Oparanya, hey, unaona broad base. When was the last time you had Oparanya akiongea mambo ya siasa? When was the last time you saw Oparanya speaking about politics or in public? Oparanya takes care. Oparanya analinda mwili. Oparanya anatumia hiyo pesa ameiba hapo Kakamega, wanapewa massage. In fact, I think they have the same mesus na nani na Tuoli. Ni wazee hawajiinvolve kwa mambo mingi kama Oburu. Oburu kiona sura ya Oburu, his skin is like an alligator skin, because Oburu is involved in everything. Senate committee of stealing interest account ya Siaya. He wants to be chairman of ODM. He wants to be the secretary general of ODM. He wants to be in the broad base as the next vice president. He wants to run in 2032. He wants to be the head of Gen Z. Oburu cannot. That's Sinolisikia alipelekwa hata Dubai kuangaliwa health, kwa sababu Oburu wants to be involved. The same mistake Raila was doing. Instead of taking, kula pesa yako vizuri, kula pesa yako pole pole kwa nani realize it late. Uhuru realized that secret very late, kwa sababu yeye pia alikuwa anaingia kwa mambo mingi. Unaona cancer ilimshika akakimbia kaenda Boston, wakamwangalia angalia. Siku hizi unaonanga Uhuru akiongea once in a while, na hata ukimwona sasa amefura, he's just playing golf. Kwa sababu you cannot be the head of TNA, Jubilee, you cannot wear all these hats. Ni stress, hata kama ni greed. Kula utosheke. Okay. I was on a freak. They had 10 women youth leaders, and they all praised Oparanya for giving them. Unaona? Why do you think they were praising Oparanya? Hey! Oparanya. Oparanya. Utaona tu hao wanawake pesa ikiisha, utaona na Musiri hapo wakisema Oparanya, hakuna video yao. Oparanya danger. Now, let me tell you something. Wacha niwaambie ukweli. Let me tell you the secret of this life. Wacha niwaambie the secret of life. For those of you who are listening, I know wa Kenya wamependa siasa sana, lakini wacha niwaambie the secret of life. Both men and women, when you reach a certain age, advanced age, the most important thing is the people around you, family, relatives, and your relationships. That is besides God. Because even if you if you listen to God, God always advises people to take care of their relatives. Be in good standing. Love your brother and your neighbor. Be at peace with people. Unasikia? Especially at a certain age. That should be your number one thing. Because if you are in good relationship with people, you will even find yourself being in good health. Unaona? Kwa sababu you're at peace. So wale ma relatives, hata wale usikizani now, you make peace. Wale wanasiasa ulikuwa unachapana now, make peace with them. That does not mean that you stop criticizing what they're doing wrong. You can do that. Unaona? Oparanya aliangalia hivi, alipata pesa. That's why you see these men like Atuoli Oparanya, they live very long. Kwa sababu wanaenda wanatafuta ndogo ndogo, these young beautiful women. Yeah? Na wazee wanakaanga nao na wanawake wako yang wanakaa. They don't die quickly. They don't. Wanakaa. And they don't involve themselves in a lot of politics. Unaona Oparanya wants to be in broad base, but Oparanya will not make noise. Because he understands siasa ya Kenya ni stress na kifo. Ruto unaona akona pesa, lakini hata ukiona nywele yake he's even losing his hair. All these people are not healthy. Kwa sababu siasa is the way of getting power na pesa. Lakini their problem is hawatosheki. They are not satisfied. So wanazidi kutafuta na kupigana na kuoana. And what's the results? Bad health, stress, and death. Atuoli has outlived Moi, Kebaki, Raila. He will even outlive Ruto, Uhuru. Why? Atuoli alishaweka system ya hapo Kotu to make sure that every electioneering year ya Kotu anashinda. Inakuwa rigged, ameshinda. So he's working on automation. Sasa ile pesa anapata unamwona anaenda Switzerland na hii ndogo ndogo. Wanawake wanampatia massage. Atakangi maneno mingi, utamwona tu siku ya Kotu hapo ama Moi Day or whatever hiyo anaitanga Kenyatta Day or sijui Jamhuri Day or sijui nini. Anakuja anaita watu shenzi. Then he goes back. Unaona ananyamaza, ama hii siasa ya huko Ubaluya huko Mulembe. Then new. Oparanya is helping women. Yes. Oparanya has invested in wazee ambao wanakaa na wanawake wadogo wadogo, they live long. Oparanya is not priority. Hii broadbase hata akikosa ataendelea. Now you'll see Oparanya will run for Senate 2042 in Kakamega. And he will win. Ndio nawaambia Oburu, wewe ungetulia, wachana na hii ODM. ODM imeisha. Wachana nayo. Rudi nyumbani. Rudi nyumbani. Concentrate on the businesses. Take care of the people. Hao watu wako. Then groom your children, hao watoto wako, so they can run to make their name for themselves. Let them fight for real causes of Kenya. Because anyone is qualified. Hata Winnie Odinga can advocate for a better Kenya, but she shouldn't do it just on the strength of being Raila's daughter. She has to prove herself. You have to be purified by fire. Unaelewa? Si ati tunakuja hata because if you listen to me, hata nikiwauliza what gives Winnie Odinga the authority to talk in ODM meeting? Who are you? Surely, besides being Raila's daughter, who are you? Wewe ni nani? What is your contribution? Unaelewa? Sifuna afadhali alipigania his position. He earned his stripes as in the ODM. Unaona? But the rest of you, Atandi niliona pictures zimewekwa Atandi huko kwao. Atandi hata classroom haina roof. But Atandi is busy working out. He has a private. This is the problem in Kenya. But let me say this wacha niwamalizie hivi. It's either, there are two choices in Kenya. It's either we are going to unite na tutoe Ruto through people's revolution. If that one fails, it might need an armed struggle. I know you don't want to hear that word, but it has to happen. Especially if Ruto refuses to cede power. Because at the rate Ruto is clinging and controlling and looting Kenya, it might force Kenyans to go to the bush, the Castro way. Because Kenyans understand this guy is brutalizing Kenyans. Unaona nasikia nani ameshikwa bado? Nzioka. I follow Nzioki. Is it Nzioka or Nzioki? I follow him on X. Very young, intelligent guy. He always speaks my language. When I say my language, I'm talking about being aware of who really controls Kenya, how the world works, and all that stuff. So I really like his page. Nasikia alishikwa, he's detained to this day. And apparently, Gava took over his account. Okay, but he's still detained, and rumors is he's not doing very good when I'm tortured. So free Nzioki. Is it Nzioki? Nzioki or Nzioka? I hope you know, he'll be okay. Ruto is back. Yes, Ruto is buying a lot of Kenyans. What wananuliwa? Because that's the problem. You know? Hiyo ndio kitu inatuuza kama sisi young people. When I'm not young, but I'm saying for those young people. Not even young people only, most Kenyans. Tuko so eager to kutengeneza pesa and mali. Nobody's standing for principles over money. You know, we miss it. Because if you understood that having a revolution in Kenya shall improve the living standards, or the standard of living of every Kenyan, if we have a system that works, if we overthrow the system that's in there, do away with that system. But we have to come together. But the problem is, instead of sacrificing, working hard to come together so we can revolutionize the system, so we can have a system that works in Kenya, we are busy, ready to receive handouts from our stolen money to enrich ourselves very quickly, for Ruto to stay in power longer and continue to exploit us, continue to brutalize us, continue to enslave us, while silencing the voices of dissent by throwing them pesa kidogo. No one is standing on principle. People like Caswell could have been useful in fighting the Ninio. Na kama umeogopa, sinungesema mimi wacha nikwambie. If the worst comes to the worst, tuseme Ruto amenikona hapo aniambie, "Hey, wewe kijana. 300 billion US dollars ndio hii chukua." Instead of making noise when hapo ujifanya ati Ruto has changed, Ruto will change me. Chukua tu hiyo 300, nyamaza. Go, enda huko Burbuset. Nyamaza. Just enda huko. Don't pretend na hiyo suti yako unakaa hapa ati ODM, we are the youth leaders. Sifuna should live expeditiously. He's bringing we are working with President Ruto because the Ruto has promised to take us to sing. Shut up. Chukua hiyo pesa unyamaza. If you agree to take that money, nyamaza. Ni kama unatuchokoza. tumejua umelipo, alafu na sasa unataka the same person who was telling us that Ruto ndio mbaya, Ruto sasa anataka kutu convince us, you know, ODM is going to work with the president through the broad base, through our leader, party leader Oburu, who is 797 years, and we shall have a bright future, and we shall also, we as youth people, youth is up. Stop it. Stand on principle. You are resolved. That's why even if you read the Bible, the true Christians, wacha nikwambie, what kept them going was faith. Faith ni ile kuvumilia, knowing that hata kama sifaidiki saizi, I know God will make a way hapo mbele. So I'm holding on to faith, trusting God, because I believe in my heart of hearts that change is going to happen, and that's what we need. Unakimbia Ruto amesha kupatia milioni moja, mnarukaruka hapa. Niliona watu wasijui Jacaranda, hao watu wa Jacaranda, sijui Okech, sijui Sala, peanuts, mumeanza kurukaruka hapo. Ni KFC umerukaruka hapo. Ruto totam. You lack, yani muna vuruga tu hivi. Have faith. And let's be careful. Those are the people. Very few people I've seen in the public sphere, your politics in Kenya, ambao are principled, who have consistently stood up against this system of oppression in Kenya. Very few. All of the united opposition, what they are corrupt. There's no hope with them. Very few. And if they exist, you never hear about them. Ni hao masela wa studio unaona hapo, wameletwa hapo Citizen TV. You know, the president, kina Haman Manyora. You know, we just need somebody to talk. Talk to these people. Anyway, Haman Manyora, nothing against him. I actually like him. I usually tag him a lot on X. So let me know. He's not the best example. But I'm saying, our intellectuals. I mean, Kalonzo Musyoka. Do you know Kalonzo Musyoka presided of the NADCO, which is the BBI? Na Kalonzo Musyoka this year ndiye amesimama ati any presidential candidate against Ruto. Matiang'i. The brother of Satan mwenyewe. Matiang'i. Ati anawaambia ati mimi na run for president. Haki. Ile jokes iko Kenya. Ndio maana tunafaa kuwe na mtu kama Traore. Somebody with military background. Anaingia na watu wanaanza kunyongwa. Kama uliiba. We. No talking. Tunakupatia 30 days to declare all your wealth, which shall be all nationalized. You shall have no access to it anymore. Itakuwa ya serikali. So ukirudisha your wealth, you'll be spared. You'll do life in prison. If you refuse, unanyongwa kamiti mapema asubuhi. Ukinyongwa kina Murkomen hapa, sijui Kibeti, sijui jinga Gachagua, Matiang'i, Ruto, Uhuru, unyonge hawa watatu, Kenya itakuwa hivi, itashika laini. We, nyonga tu hawa watatu, laini. Hata ukipewa shilingi moja unasema yes sir, unaandika chini na bairo, nilitumia shilingi 2, 3 imebaki. Bwana sifiwe. We just need somebody who is mtu acheze na watu. Hii mchezo tunacheza hapa hivi. Just somebody like that. Traore. Very, very disciplined. Hakuna nyorosha. Na magavana wote, in fact there will be no governor. Hakuna governor. Governor wote waeke kwa meli moja, tuwapeleke kwa Indian Ocean. Wafungwe, dump them in Indian Ocean. Kufa. Ukisurvive urudi. Na ukirudi tunakupeleka Kamiti ukisurvive. Tunakupeleka deep end. Governor wote wa Kenya wote. The whole parliament yote. Tunawapeleka Lake Victoria ama River Nile. Tour. Tuambia let's go for tour. Ingia ndani uchi kwa maji, umefungwa mkono na mguu. Pasaris. Tunaanza na wewe. Unanyongwa. Yes. Military. Somebody with a military background that will not laugh with these people. Gladys Wanga ndio sasa kibiriti. Tunaanza yeye anatumiwa kama kibiriti, yani anachomwa wa kwanza. Wanga sijui nani. These are the people where we should start with. Hakuna kuongea. Kamiti. Until that day tutacheza hii mchezo hii kuvurugana. Mtazungushwa ndugu yangu. Sijui mtazungushwa namna gani this time. Unajua Raila ndiye alikuwa anatuzungusha sana. Raila, lakini Raila ametuzungusha kweli. Sijui broad base, Tialala, Tibim, Nadco, BBI. Sijui conclave, sijui national conclave. Raila. Mara naenda sijui Africa Union. Huyo mzee alikuwa hatari. Hatari katika lango. Hatari, binatari. Ndio maana nasema Ruto, this time I don't know how Kenyans will react. Wakisha sema tu Ruto ameshinda hivi. Mio siku hiyo. Hiyo siku nitaiangalia mbali. Kwa sababu I don't know what will happen. I really don't know. I don't know. Wakenya wakiaccept ni sawa. Ndio maana nasema hii tusidanganyane. Ndio that's why when people come in wakianza kusema ati I have this great plan. Sijui I'll introduce socialism, I'll introduce this, wanakuja na manifesto, wakina sijui nani wa Safina Party anatuambia sijui anataka kukua na sijui sheriff. Get power. In Kenya, you shall not win elections because you have a wonderful manifesto. In Kenya, you will not win elections because you have a wonderful vision for the country. Stop it. Let me reorient you to the reality of Kenyan politics. Ukitaka kukuwa na manifesto nzuri and a good vision, enda huko Britain ama America ama Australia. Huko ndio, that's where people debate on ideologies and their visions and their manifestos and their plan. Wajakoya is a con man. Wajakoya is a con man. The day that nilijua Wajakoya ni con man, he was the first one to go congratulate Ruto, and number 2, in his last speech, before the election, alienda akasema ati mimi na support Wayahudi. Anybody that will support Wayahudi juu ya ninio without mentioning watu wa Palestine, hapo ndio unajua Wajakoya ni kuku wa Yuda. Yeah. He was exciting with ile. Alafu hata ukijua huyo msee alikuwa anajua. Sasa anatuambia ati in order to sijui we can change our economy by selling hyenas testicles. I mean, come on, can you be serious? Yaani Kenya ianze kuexport hyenas testicles ndio tupate pesa. Yeah. Charlie, be serious with your life, Wajakoya. Oh yeah. Nani George Galloway. Yeah, Philippines, unajua it's very cheap in Philippines. I have nilikuwa na some years back, nilikuwa na rafiki yangu Filipino. Mazee 100 ya Britain. Hiyo hata ni rent na kila kitu for the month. Very cheap. Standard of living is very cheap. And I think his wife is from Philippines. That's why he probably went up there. Kiama apelekwe jela mara moja. Kiama hata ni amechanganyikiwa kabisa. Hey, ati Kiama stama. Namuita Kiama. So yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, to my last point. In Kenya, you will not win elections because you have an ideologically superior vision than your political opponents. In Kenya, you figure out the way what persuades people to vote for you to capture power so you can actually realize this change that you want to bring. Let me explain that to you. In Kenya, people are impressed by those who have a lot of money and those who have influence and those who have this what. That is what impresses people. So the biggest challenge in Kenya is to educate the masses, not all of them, the masses, a good chunk of them, okay? To make them realize that if we house and actualize and implement the 2010 constitution that we have as it is, we shall all benefit in this new system. Because since it was introduced, no president, whether it was Kibaki, whether it was Uhuru, whether it was Ruto, all of them violated it, mutilated it, and went back to brutalizing, abusing Kenyans and looting Kenya. So the only way you can undo that is if you pump into the senses of the masses and remind them that the solution is in the 2010 constitution. And in order to realize that, let us, and you should do this, okay, by relating it to the capturing of the power, for people to have the power, empowering the people. It is not just about money. And you have to do that aggressively and apologetically, rivaling the Matiangis who have been rotten politically to the core, the Gachagua who are jokers, who are tribalists by design, by Ruto, who is a cold-blooded killer, and the Uhurus and Martha Karuas, who are fakers, who are beneficiaries of this system, and the Kalonzo with his fake, clean persona. Rival them, confront them intellectually, persuading the people, letting them know that power is with them if they come together and support the movement of reconstituting, implementing the 2010 constitution as it was meant to be. Fully. Do this aggressively. Do this as if it's life and death. People will relate. Expose these these fakers. Expose all of them. That's how you're going to do it. Manifesto ya kukuja hapa sijui tutawajangia sijui njia hapa sijui nini sijui safina party sijui pesa mfukoni. Where will that money come? Well, Ruto still has the IBC in his pocket. Unatuambia sijui utatupata. I'll bring you a good economy. Economy gani na Ruto is controlling the judiciary. Ruto is controlling the National Assembly, the legislative body, and the IBC. Ruto wants to count the votes at Bomas. Na wewe unatuambia ati utatuletea pesa mfukoni. You have to be pragmatic and confront these problems head on, fearlessly. That's how you do it. This is not an ideological difference or fight or debate between one party and the other party. These parties are nothing but personal briefcase parties whether it's for Huru or Oburu family or sijui nani. Yes, that time imeisha. You should relate. Fungua watu macho so that they can understand the importance of removing these people so power can reside in the people, by the people, for the people. Until then, turudi kwa ile merry-go-round, ile kuzunguka hapo. Haya, Ruto amalize, Murkomen aingie. Murkomen amalize, Matiang'i aingie. Matiang'i amalize, Martha Karua aingie. Martha Karua amalize, haya tuingize nani Gachagua, but there will be no change. Same thing. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Good year, everybody else who has been here. Thank you so much. I'll have to leave it there. Peace and blessings. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. I'm out.